Good morning and welcome to Two Girls in a Pod. I'm Sharon.
I'm Christy.
Hello and welcome all. As you could tell from last week that we didn't have a podcast. We did record one, but for some reason it was silence.
A blank file.
So we were so grateful because we did our podcast with a really good friend of ours, Tammi. And she was so gracious to say she would redo the podcast. And I told her, you have to remember everything that you said exactly like you said it. No.
We want to welcome Tammi, and we appreciate you joining us today.
Good morning.
One of the things is that the reason we had Tammi on and have her on again is because it's to talk about CBD products. And, you know, one of the things is, you know, when we talk about all the different stuff that we talk about on our podcasting, we talk about anxiety, we talk about mental health, we talk about physical health, all of those things. CBD is an alternative to some stuff. It's not the end all to beat all, but it is very effective for a lot of different people. So we wanted to be able to spread some of that knowledge to others out there. So Tam, first off, could you give us a little bit of background for you, like, because we've been friends for many, many years, like 30.
Yeah, a long time.
And so part of that time was in college. So can you give a little bit of background with that?
I went to CSU and studied horticultural science. And while I was getting my degree in horticultural science, I worked for the National Seed Storage Lab doing plant research. And of course, I grew up on a farm and we always had large gardens of all kinds. And so I just have always enjoyed working with plants. It's a fascinating subject. Plants have so many good benefits that I find myself constantly looking for the health benefits of native plants particularly and what you can use them for. And there's such a broad range of benefits to common plants that people don't even think of other than being as weeds.
Yeah. So do you find that that was a natural progression? Because it's not like you went and did your degree and then went right into doing the CBD products, because you kind of had a life in between there too. But what made you decide to go into CBD?
Well, it just seemed like a good opportunity. You know, they made CBD and growing hemp legal in 2018. And we're on the farm. We have room to grow. And my husband had a background in making natural skin cream from goat's milk. So we decided that a CBD goat milk product would have numerous benefits. And we have goats on the farm. We still have goats. And so it just seemed like a natural product for us to make. And yes, we found that we had good success. People really received a lot of benefits from it.
So do you milk the goats?
We did. We're not currently, no.
No, was that your job, milking the goats?
Oh, yes, that was my job. I grew up with goats, and so I've been milking goats since I was a kid and showing goats and that sort of thing. So, yes, my job to milk the goats.
So, real quickly, why goat milk? Because I know that the podcast and nobody got to hear it, because I found that really fascinating. Why goat milk? What is the benefit of goat milk and CBD?
Well, goat milk, the makeup of goat milk is different than cow's milk. It's more easily digested when you eat it, consume it. It is very similar to the makeup of our skin, and so it easily passes across the skin barrier. So it is useful. You can add essential oils and things to it, and it absorbs easily into the skin.
Nice.
Throughout history, people have been using goat milk for skin. You know, they talk about bathing in goat's milk, you know, centuries ago.
Oh.
And so, yes, long-time benefits, reduces the signs of aging and that sort of thing.
So, because you also said about the essential oils, because I know, you know, one of our favorite products of yours is the one with frankincense, but that's not the only, because you have some with cinnamon, frankincense, and so how do you choose those? How do you make those combine, or how do you sit there and say, okay, I'm going to do frankincense with the CBD because it's going to enhance this or that?
Yeah, just doing some research. Frankincense has numerous benefits, and they're, again, been used for centuries for healing. Back in biblical times, it was more valuable than gold for its healing properties. So we just looked into the benefits of different essential oils and what we were trying to do. So For a lot of people, their goal is to relieve pain. And so we looked for essential oils that are known to help relieve pain, such as arnica and frankincense as well. And there are some others. And so we just kind of matched up the known benefits of the essential oils with the goal that we were after, whether it was pain relieving or anxiety relieving or sleep, whatever it is people were trying to relieve.
I know that you really looked into what the actual benefits of the CBD are and what some of the healing properties could be to that. So I know that you talked about before about like the inflammation and that's what CBD helps to work on, right?
Yes. They have found that CBD is a really good anti-inflammatory, both topically and internally. So any kind of condition that is caused from inflammation, which they have found, most health problems are caused from inflammation of different sorts, whether it's internal inflammation or external, or in your joints, that sort of thing.
Which is oftentimes why, and oftentimes when I talk to my clients, they'll be talking about pain, and I have to tell them, oftentimes when there's pain, there's inflammation. So if you decrease the inflammation, of course, you're going to decrease the pain. Our bodies aren't made to have there's not a lot of space in our bodies. People might think there is, but there's not. So even a small amount of inflammation is going to cause pain.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. And so we had people, with pain issues. We found that, depending on the type of pain, some pains are fairly easily remedied. You can relieve the inflammation by using topicals. If you've got a sore knee, you can rub it on and that works pretty good. But some sorts of chronic pain, more effective if you use both internal and external. So, taking an oral CBD product as well as a topical one seemed to be more effective than just one or the other alone, which to me made sense.
One of the things I do want to emphasize is that your creams smell flippin' amazing. So if you're putting it on, the smell is just great too. And it's very, a little goes a long way, because you not only do lotions, but you do salves.
Yes.
And a little goes a long way, and we found that out. But, when you talk about the internal ones, as you know, our favorite ones are your cinnamon ones. We call them your little cinnamon disc, because that's they are like the cinnamon disc candies. And we talked the last time, and I thought that was really relevant too, is because we talked about taste and why in the difference between how internal CBDs are made and how come that has the taste is different.
Well, there's different forms of CBD. So there's what they call CBD isolate, which is the compound they have extracted from the plant, and they have removed all of the other components of the plant. So they're left with a white powder typically. They probably have other forms now, but it's pure CBD. And then they have what they call CBD distillate, which they have processed the plant and removed the THC. It still has, as well as some of the other components of the plant like chlorophyll. And so you are left with a multi-component product, but it doesn't have all of them. And then there's a full spectrum CBD, which has all of the different compounds in the plant still in it, including, depends, if you have raw full spectrum CBD oil, it includes the chlorophyll. So you have all of the components. And then there's a full spectrum CBD where they've removed like the chlorophyll and it tastes better, looks better. It's not green. It's not that dark green, tarry looking substance. And we chose to go with the raw full spectrum oil where you still have the chlorophyll and everything in it. Chlorophyll itself has numerous health benefits. One reason why everybody says eat more spinach, eat more broccoli.
Right.
So for people who don't know, the chlorophyll you're talking about is the green. It's
like the green of the plant.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, that is what makes plants green. So if you study the makeup of chlorophyll, the actual molecule of chlorophyll, it is almost identical to human blood. It is extremely similar to human blood. And if you look at plants, it is essentially the lifeblood of the plants. That is how plants get their energy from the sun and what makes them grow.
Right.
Nice.
The same as blood in humans or animals. So chlorophyll, yes, sorry to interrupt. Chlorophyll has a tremendous number of benefits, but does affect the taste of your CBD oil.
So that's one of the reasons that y'all decided to do the full spectrum, is because you wanted more bang for your buck, so to speak.
Yes, I believe, and research is showing that all of those compounds in a plant together are more effective than when you isolate them individually and take them individually.
Yeah, I was going to mention you had said before about with CBD and there being a very low percentage of the THC in that, and also that you guys have dealt with CBG. So I was wondering about the differences on that.
So how about if we address first, so that people understand that the difference between the hemp and the marijuana plant, the cannabis?
Okay, they're in the same family. They're a sativa, but hemp has a very low THC content. And so when they legalized growing hemp in 2018, the requirements they set were the content of THC in the plant had to be below 0.3%. Anything above that was considered marijuana still. And so all of the products have to be tested and fall below 0.3% THC content.
Okay.
And then, of course, they have bred plants to increase the CBD content. So the goal is to get as high a CBD content in your plant and as low a THC content as you can. And the further spread between that, the better quality of hemp you have.
Okay, and like Christy mentioned was CBG, because CBG was something that you added later to your product. That was, why did you want to add CBG? How did you think that was going to enhance because your product was already amazing, so why add that?
CBG is another compound within the hemp plant. They have isolated over 80 different compounds within the hemp plant or the marijuana plant. And so, THC, tetrahydrocannabinol, is one compound. CBD, cannabidiol, is another compound. And CBG, cannabigerol, or however it's pronounced, is another cannabinoid that they have isolated. And what they discovered after doing some research is that CBG is what they consider to be the precursor to the other cannabinoids. So CBG in the plant is broken down into the other compounds. That's where you get CBD and THC and all of the other 80-some compounds that they have isolated. And they have found that a small amount, so as the plant converts these compounds, CBG is converted into the CBD. And as the CBD level goes up, the CBG level goes down. But they found that if there's still a small amount of CBG, the other cannabinoids seem to be more effective.
Oh.
And so, of course, they started working on isolating CBG from the plant. And we added a small amount of CBG back into our products, which definitely seemed, from the feedback that we had, to make them more effective.
Absolutely. And, we're so fortunate because we get to be your guinea pigs with some of your products, which we truly thoroughly enjoyed.
Yeah.
But there were some that we told you we just didn't like because of the flavoring or the texture. And so you really worked hard on trying to get textures, whether they were gummies or whatever, and trying to get and some flavors that just didn't really mesh really well. So for you guys, because you're very grassroots, it's just you and Tim who do this. So it's like, I always picture you guys, like I said, little scientists with your little aprons on and your little safety glasses. I don't know what y'all do, but.
Exactly. We did have aprons and hair nets. Got to keep the product sanitary.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, we were fortunate in that we, being a small company, we could adjust our recipes, create recipes based on people's feedback. And then once we found a product that people seemed to like and was effective, that's kind of what we stuck with, and it became our product line.
I think for people maybe out there who've never done the CBD products or who have done them and said, it didn't work that effective for me. I think, it's really researching the product that you're taking, because not all products are created equal. You talked a little bit about that with your dad.
Yeah, particularly in the beginning when CBD became legal, a lot of people jumped on board and started creating CBD products. what they found upon doing some research is that a lot of those companies and products were not adding as much CBD as they said they were, first of all, and some of them they found to have no CBD at all. And so, yes, back to my dad, he had a hip replacement, and that had been bothering him for several years and, causing him quite some pain. And so I talked him into trying CBD, but we were just starting our company. We hadn't had our first hemp harvest yet. And so he ordered his CBD online, don't know which company, and he used it according to their directions. And the directions were 1 dropper once a day, and there's approximately 30 droppers in the bottle. So it lasted him approximately a month. And at the end of the month, I asked him how he was doing, and he said, well, I couldn't tell that it was making any difference. And so out of curiosity, I asked if I could see what CBD he was using. When I looked at the bottle, the label said that it had 100 milligrams of CBD in the whole bottle. So if you do the math on that, in a 1 ounce dropper bottle, there's approximately 30 droppers full. And if you divide 100 milligrams by 30 droppers, that's approximately 3 milligrams per dropper. So if you take 1 dropper a day, you're taking approximately 3 milligrams a day. Well, 3 milligrams is a very small amount. I have a 5-pound Yorkie. When I give her CBD, I give her 3 milligrams. And that's effective for her. But that's 5 pounds compared to 150 pounds.
So basically, there's not a real therapeutic value to 3 milligrams if you're a person.
They say, research says that for some people with certain conditions, that amount might be effective. But on average, the standard dose that most people figure to be effective is at least 10 milligrams. And there again, it depends on the person, depends on the size of the person, depends on the condition that they're trying to treat. So a severe condition, a chronic condition, requires more milligrams per dose than a mild condition. And so there's lots of variables in there when people say, how much should I take? That's really a gray area. It depends on the person.
So you have to look at different factors with that.
Well, and I always tell,
Yes.
because I've had a few people that I know who use it, and your product, and I'll tell them, kind of play with it a little bit too. Sometimes they might not want to start at a full dose, and I'll say, well, then take half a dose, see how that's working for you. Because it is kind of, like you said, for some people, the full dose works great. For other people, it's a half a dose of yours that works great. So you're right. But even your half a dose is going to be more than the 3%.
That was a learning moment for you. So you guys upped your potency, correct?
Yes. So when we made our product, I didn't want to go too high. There comes a point, since our product, we were using full spectrum hemp, we did have the small amount of THC in it. And so there comes a limit to how much CBD oil you can take before you also start feeling the effects of the THC in it.
Exactly.
If that makes any sense.
Yes.
The milligrams of THC go up as well when you increase the amount of CBD.
Right.
And so we were careful to keep ours within the legal limit of 0.3% THC. But we tried to put as much CBD in there as we could before we hit that limit, so that when people took a dropper, they were getting a good dose of CBD.
Right.
And then you added the other essential stuff that kind of made it like a super...
Added more of those healing elements to it by adding those other products to work along with the CBD, correct?
Yes, particularly for the topical creams and salves, for like the oil, the ingestible oil, or CBD drops, people call them.
Mm-hmm.
We had some drops that were just plain CBD and MCT coconut oil. And then we also had some that had other things like turmeric, moringa oil, and of course with, the name escapes me. But anyway, we had 2 or 3 other oils in there with health benefits. So it wasn't just a straight CBD coconut oil drop.
Right.
And I'm going to tell y'all out there, it don't taste good. It tastes like medicine. But the reason why, because we're going to talk a little bit about your chocolates. They went and made truffles. They were dangerous because they were so good you really thought, oh my God, I'm eating, I just want to keep eating these, which would be a bad idea.
That could be dangerous.
Because those were so good.
Yes, the chocolate seemed to kind of offset the flavor of the full spectrum CBD oil fairly well.
Uh-huh.
And so we found, there's a few things, like you say, the cinnamon, the chocolate, those kind of help cover, if you will, the flavor of the CBD oil.
I'm telling you, your cinnamon ones, if you've never taken a CBD product, there will be a little bit of an aftertaste to it if it's not paired well.
They're usually pretty bitter, but yeah.
I was trying to be polite.
Yes, bitter is, as I termed it, the bitter burn.
Yes.
Yeah.
You could taste. And I don't know how else to describe that except, yes, kind of a bitter burn that went away shortly. But yes, I always kind of warned people that if you're looking for an effective CBD, get full spectrum raw oil products. They won't taste as good, but they'll be more effective. Or you can get the good tasting ones, and they don't tend to be as effective. Not knocking on anybody's product, but these CBD isolate products that really have a good flavor, you can't tell the CBD is in there. People have found, and we've had a lot of feedback on that, they're just not as effective.
Well, that's the whole thing anyway. It should be, if it's about a medication, you don't want to be taking in too many anyway. You have to remember that it has that. Something. It's treating something.
It's like a medicine,
Yeah.
And, real quickly, of course, because I do the mental health piece, let's talk a little bit about the mental health side of that with the CBD products.
Yeah, because we've talked a little bit about the uses for it, especially for pain, but there are many uses for CBD.
Yes. Of course, one of the most well-known things that it seems to help with is anxiety. And the other thing that they have found it to be very effective for is PTSD.
Mm-hmm. Which makes sense because PTSD has an anxiety component to it, which if it's therapists listening, they're like, oh, yeah, that makes so much sense because it's trying to calm stuff down. But I'm sorry, go on.
Yes. They're also finding that the combination, and not here to promote THC products or anything, but they're finding that the combination, small amount of THC, along with the CBD is more effective, particularly for PTSD. And so back to the full spectrum hemp products that have a small amount of THC, more effective for PTSD than straight CBD alone.
Absolutely. And some of those things make a lot of sense for people who have that anxiety. It seems like the CBD products, it's almost like they're working on those neurotransmitters that are creating that anxiety. With anxiety, the way in which the neurotransmitter is firing, it's a consistent fire. Whereas it seems like what the CBD products are doing is kind of slowing that down.
Yes. And they're still doing a lot of research on that. And it's been a long time coming before they've been able to do significant research on full spectrum products, anything that contains THC.
Exactly.
But definitely finding that, yes, neurologically it is, CBD they have found to be a neuroprotectant.
Mm-hmm.
And so even helpful for people with brain injuries. So yeah, a lot of benefits they're still researching and looking at.
Well, I think that's kind of what's cool is it's one of those things. And one of the things I know about you is you don't do anything halfway. I've known you for such a long time. Yeah, plays hard. I remember racquetball with you. Just things that you're going to go in and you're going to do research. You're going to know what you're doing. You're going to keep up on stuff. So and one of the things is I really wanted to, if I was going to have people that I was working with, or that if I was going to recommend a product, I wanted it to be something that I knew there was thought and research and stuff being put into it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I think she's saying you little overachiever. She's going back to the 300 pounds of peaches that you picked last week.
Well, why do anything halfway? No.
I'm telling you, people, I've known her for 30 years, and there is nothing she does halfway. And when we're teasing her about these 300 pounds of peaches, because she really did get that, because heaven forbid, who's going to stop at 100 pounds? Because we talked last week, because you're canning, you're freezing, you're drying, you're making peach wine.
Yes. I am. Let's see. I currently have, I think, 5-gallon buckets full of peach wine going.
Nice.
As well, who needs one bottle when you can have several?
Well, and once again, we're her tasting person, so we'll be expecting to taste that peach wine and see how that turned out. And we told you last time, do some vodka. You said about, maybe doing a little bit of vodka since you're going to have like 900, at least 90 pounds of peaches left.
Yes, I might have to try peach vodka. And I want to try, because I'm always into experimenting, I want to try adding CBD to both the wine and the vodka if we have enough to make vodka in the end.
Oh, wow. That would be kind of nice.
And see how a CBD peach wine is, and if it has any benefits. And yes, I need some guinea pigs to try it and see if they can tell that the combination has any good benefits.
Pick me.
All right, you're picked.
And one of the things is as we sit here and talk is, once again, when I say about Tammi and her, when she gets an idea, we talked last time, the episode you guys didn't hear, but we're going to bring it up now, is her bull riding. You wanted to ride a bull. And we were at Colorado State University, and the person you were dating back then did that. And so you guys decided you were going to do this. And I watched you at first. We were there like, I don't know, is she really going to do this? And we went and watched you, and you did.
For a couple of seconds at least.
I use you in therapy, just so you know. And I use this instance sometimes because when I'm talking to my clients, they'll be on the right path, and then there will be that moment of hesitation. And as I was watching you on that bull that day, I was amazed at how well your form was, number one, for never bull riding. You could just see that look of determination. But I also saw that second, that I don't know if you started thinking, what is my hand right? I don't know what it was that you thought at that second. But I saw when the concentration shifted, and then I saw Tammi go up in the air and land on the ground and back up to her feet faster than anything I've ever seen. You were up so fast.
Well, can't lay there and bleed, they say. You got to get up again.
And so even that, so you're always about experimenting and about trying some different stuff.
Therefore, I have a lot of chronic pain that I use CBD on.
And oh man, that was so perfect, because I was going to say, after being thrown off a bull and wait, you were doing the horses one time too with the buckboard, right? When you were training a horse?
Oh, yes.
And what happened there, Tam?
Well, which time are you referring to?
when it stopped and you kind of used the front of you to skid to a stop.
Yeah, we were working with 3 draft horses. One was a rescue, and he had a lot of issues. Speaking of psychological issues, he had been mishandled and mistreated, and yes, he spooked. They took off. The wagon we were in came apart. 3 Belgians, well, actually 2 Belgians and a Shire. But that's a lot of horsepower, and at a full gallop, the wagon started coming apart. I came out of the wagon and hit the pavement. They all ended up in a pile in the ditch. I saw Tim at the last minute coming out of the wagon, and they were some ways ahead of me down the road by that time, and I was sure that somebody was killed. I was just sure that one of the horses or Tim was dead. So I took off running, and yes, when I got down there, fortunately, nobody was killed. One horse had some injuries on his legs that we had to have the vet out for, but considering the pile in the ditch, I was impressed that we hadn't killed anybody. But yeah, that left some lasting marks on everybody, including the horse. And
so you use CBD products, right?
Yeah, so what I'm hearing is that you had reasons to seek out the benefits of CBD.
Exactly. But we also gave them to the horse. So back to CBD products.
Yes.
They're good for pets as well. And it really helped that horse. Because as I say, he had problems before we got him. He had been abused and you could hardly handle him. And then after that wreck, yes, you couldn't even catch him. And we started giving him CBD horse treats. And it really made a difference in his personality. He would come to the door and beg for his horse treats and let me handle him, and started to gain some trust back. I'm sure that the CBD treats really helped calm him. It was just a different, I don't even know how to describe it. Before he was shaking and sweating, and then after a few CBD treats, he would come to the door and beg, and he was much calmer. Definite difference.
Because you talked about that too with your dog.
Yes, for a lot of dogs, including ours, but one particular dog comes to mind. That dog was terrified of fireworks and gunshots, so terrified that he would be physically sick. The owner took him to the vet because he was physically sick. They did blood work and all of that, and the numbers in the blood work were elevated. And I don't know specifically what they were looking at, but the vet thought perhaps even cancer. Well, after taking him home and recovering from the scare, those numbers went back down. And yes, it was pretty well determined that it was literally the body's reaction to the fear. It started doing actual damage, I believe it was to the liver. And with the CBD treats, that dog is able to relax, doesn't lay and shake whenever there's thunder or gunshots. We're down where there's hunting going on during hunting season, and just made a huge difference. That dog is able to, well, almost be normal despite gunshots, thunder, fireworks, that sort of thing. Just made a big difference.
And I think, when we talk about that we use the CBD products, and we do, my job, I sit, and, the way in which I sit or playing with, I worked with kids for so long, and I recently stopped working with kids, but, it takes a toll on your back. And so we use your product, and, we can honestly say our neighbor, we used to see her out, and then we didn't see her out anymore. And so when I went over to visit, it's her knees. Her knees are so bad. And she said, she really liked gardening, and pretty soon it was just the husband, and they're an elderly couple. But I had some of your chocolates I had in the back of my fridge, and I had forgotten all about them. So they were like a year old or something. I don't even know how long I had them. I said, what the heck? Let's see if they work. Oh my goodness, totally different. She's walking out, and then she did too much and hurt herself because she got all excited because she could do so many things.
Got a little overzealous.
Yeah. But, one of the things her husband said to me he came to me and he goes, thank you. And I says, for what? He goes, thank you for giving me my wife back. And, when you hear that, that CBD has this potential. And we talk a lot about your products to people that we know, and different friends use it, clients use it, because I think the time that you guys have taken to put into that product to really enhance it. And one of the things for you was, and when we started talking with you in the very beginning of this, is you wanted a good product for people. It was really about the product for people and really to help them with their life. And I feel like you achieved that. Do you?
Yes, that was the goal, was to actually have a product that helped people. The hype and the whatever behind CBD, I think, turned a lot of people off. And we wanted it to actually work for people. And so what kept us kind of going, because CBD is incredibly hard to market, or at least it was when we started. Mm-hmm. We were struggling to get our business going, but it kept us going to hear the feedback. People would try the product and come back saying, wow, this is the most effective CBD product we've used. And it really worked. I mean, it just made such a difference. And one of those people, for a short example, was a gal that we knew. She had severe back problems. She had 11 back surgeries. The doctors had told her she would be in a wheelchair. And with the CBD, she was able to walk with a cane. And I literally watched her. One day she came to pick up some CBD products, and she was in terrible pain. I mean, she was, you can just tell when somebody is in bad pain. And she was about done. And she's like, I need some CBD. And it was almost like an addict craving their fix. I mean, she was literally shaking. Mm-hmm. And so I gave her gummies that we had, and she literally ate a handful of gummies. I mean, just scarfed them down, and you could see the whole body relax. I mean, it was fascinating to me, actually, to just watch, that quickly, how the CBD, I don't know, you would say, calmed the pain. Mm-hmm. So that she was able to even think. I mean, because prior to taking a handful of CBD gummies, she wasn't even able to think clearly. I mean, she was a mess. And within, not even 10 minutes or so, it was like a different person. It was amazing. I was actually amazed at the effect that had. So with daily dose of CBD, she was able to function almost normally, walk with a cane rather than be in a wheelchair. So it really does work for some people.
And I think that's what it is. For some people, it's going to work really super effective. Some people may not have the same thing, but it's one of those things you don't know until you try it. And the other thing that I found that it has helped with several of my clients, and the reason it helps, and I tell them, when you calm down the anxiety, they can sleep better. So when I do the psychology piece of it, I understand how all those pieces go together. So, of course, if we're going to calm down anxiety, once your anxiety's calmed down, your mind slows down, so then you get to sleep. So it works really well for that sleep piece of it too, which is going to also help the PTSD, because oftentimes people with PTSD aren't sleeping effectively, and it's because of the thought processes. So it's one of these products that for some people that don't want to do the pharmaceuticals, and there's no disrespect to pharmaceuticals. In my practice, we use a whole bunch of different stuff. But sometimes when I have a person who's really resistive to that, they would rather try something like a CBD and see if that works. And then if it doesn't, then they might even go to the pharmaceutical. But I think it's just opening that door for people to have different options, those kind of things.
Yes. And I think they're, again, not totally anti-pharmaceutical. I think they have their place. But I think the natural remedies are far more healing to the body. You have far less side effects.
Mm-hmm.
And there you go again. So you take a pharmaceutical product to help with one specific issue, and then that creates side effects, and your body has to cope with those side effects then. And so I think, for lack of a scientific term, I think it interferes with the healing process.
I agree. It can become a vicious cycle of one treats one thing, but then you have to, so, people get stuck in that cycle. And once again, I'm not here to bash the pharmaceuticals. That's not what this is at all. Everything has a place, and
yes.
But I think that having the CBD offers an alternative. And I think that oftentimes when we're on our podcast, we're talking about alternatives. Even when we're talking about treating anxiety, we're talking about what are some of the things you can do, like through mindfulness or some of the more holistic approaches. And not saying that at times I have clients that are on meds and I have clients that are not on meds. So for me, it's whatever's going to fit and really enhance that person and get them to where they need to be.
That's why we felt like it was really important, I think, to have you on to talk about the different properties of it and stuff. Just get people's awareness, get it in their awareness so that they can take a look at those things as maybe another option. You talking about your experience with it, because it's not even about, because you guys have kind of shifted away from the product making and that. I know you guys have other things going on, but I think it's important for people to understand the different things that they should look at when they're considering trying CBD.
And I guess along with that, because we're gonna have people listening to this and they're say, "Oh my God, I want to try that CBD product." Are they still able to try that with you?
Yes, they would be able to. We're mostly making it on request. So yes, if somebody would be interested in trying it, we still have CBD oil. We didn't actually grow any hemp this year, but we still have plenty of CBD oil from previous harvest and can make some of those products.
Okay, so real quickly, if anybody really did want to do your product, they could get in touch with us and we could put them through to you. And our website is...
It's not actually a website. We do have Two Girls in a Pod, Life's Journey and Everything in Between is on Facebook. So you can send a private message there, reach out to us, and we can get a message to Tammi. Also, we do have an email address, and that's podcast.twogirlsinapod@hotmail.com, and it's the number 2. So if you wanted to send an email, you could do that as well, and we can also get a message to her.
Because I think it's one of those things, once again, a lot of people, when we talk about that, and, real quick, I'm going to just one more thing real quick is one of my clients has MS, and she really wanted to do some, she had a conventional meds that she had to do for that, but then she wanted to do the CBD products, and she found such success with them. Because, one of the things we talked real quickly as we're getting ready to wrap up, but we talked about your lotions and stuff, but one of the other things, the thing that she used that really, really helped her was your bath salts. You do bath salts, you do bath bombs, those are things, and, when we, of course, try your product, so got the bright idea that we're going to do a bath. We put your bath salts in. Talk about relax the body, man. I swear, got out of that thing. It was like, say, 5 o'clock, whatever, lay down. I was asleep.
Yeah.
It was like, whoa.
Yes.
So
they really are effective. The bath bombs in particular, you like the bath salts, but we have quite a few people who really preferred the bath bombs. They're awesome, kind of almost like a bubble bath.
I like both of them. We use both, but yeah, they're so effective.
They really are. In fact, yes, I need to make a batch of bath bombs today. I had somebody specifically request those. So, yes, I'm making bath bombs today.
Nice.
As well as peaching.
Oh, okay.
Oh, she's she always got her little hand doing something, man, because you have very little downtime. And, we so appreciate the fact that you actually came on today. And I know you did it partly because of our friendship. And I always tell people, I'm surprised that, once again, we're going to finish with, you're still my friend because, you trust me again, I think, right? Maybe sort of.
I don't know. After you convinced me it would be good to smoke a cigar, I'm not sure if I trust you or not, but no. No, 30 years. It's all good.
Yeah, but when I told her, I said, yeah, just smoke it like a cigarette. I didn't think she would do it, and she did. And oh my gosh, you were so sick. I really did feel bad, just so you know, for half a second. No.
I don't know. You still laugh every time. I don't think you felt a bit bad.
Oh, we've had this really amazing friendship, and I'm always so grateful for it because, we've kind of endured a lot and things like that. But we've had so much fun, being in college together, eating our hot wings, selling plasma, things like that are really important,
Fond memories, yes.
Oh, yeah. And then to be able to see you on this journey too, and when you went into the CBD and just...
Well, and you guys were a really big help on getting that going. If it hadn't been for your encouragement that it really would be a product that people might benefit from, I'm not sure that we would have gotten started. So you guys were a big inspiration.
Well, one of the things I'm really grateful for, Tam, is because for me, the clients that used it and to be able to see that because it works hand in hand with the mental health piece that I work on, and it made my job easier and it really helped their life, and so appreciate that. And, I think that for the people who use it and it works, it can be such a godsend to them, and to know that there's a product out there that might benefit you, and you don't know till you try it. And then if you try it and it benefits you, that is so outstanding. So once again, we're grateful that you've allowed us on this journey, even after our past. No.
Oh, absolutely. No, it's been awesome.
The thing is, Christy keeps me in line with you. She tells me I can't do stuff, even if she sees me contemplating it.
Gotta always have that checks and balances, right?
Right.
So, yeah, she does the check and balance with me, it keeps me like, I don't think you should do it now. Tammy's not going to like that.
And see, then I had this friend who would always say, yeah, absolutely, you should do that.
But, on your endeavors, like I said, when you rolled that bull, I was right there watching you. When you were ordering the hottest wings and I'm looking at you, I was right there with you.
Yes, it's a good thing to have encouragement and backup.
And like I said, when we would play racquetball or whatever, it was always hard and you'd always come out with bruises and stuff, but we knew we had a good time.
Exactly. Yes, indeed.
Those are the great things, and we're always so grateful. We talk in our podcast about having gratitude, and we talk about having gratitude for those relationships and stuff. And, I'm so grateful for this one that we've had for so many years, and I look forward to the many more that we do have.
As long as you don't try and convince me of bad habits.
Oh, I'm not going to promise that. That ain't going to happen. We still have to, at some point, get together where we do a vacation where we just kind of go and hopefully chill and...
Relax?
Yeah, that.
And sip peach wine with CBD in it?
Yeah.
Hey, there you go. How much better can it get, right?
Exactly. Good relaxing vacation.
Yeah.
I am so grateful you redid this podcast and for the information that you put out to our listeners. And as always, we are so, so grateful for everybody who listens and just immense gratitude for it. Thank you so much, Tammi, for doing this for us. We really, really, really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Oh, you're certainly welcome. And I appreciate it as well. Really appreciate the opportunity to at least share a little information. There's a lot of myths and whatever out there on CBD. And a lot of people, I think, who have been disappointed because they have gotten a product that wasn't up to standards and it didn't work for them. And so to be able to dispel a few myths, I'm very grateful for.
Right.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And as always, to our audience, thank you so much for listening.
Yes, thank
We
you.
hope you guys have an amazing week, and we will be back next week.
Bye.
Bye.